If you still have yours from chemistry, or even more impressive, you still have yours from grade 9, great, that's awesome. But for those of you who don't, we will need this because balancing equations is coming back, so that's going to be fun. Yeah, it's coming back. It's a thing. Yeah, except we're not going to balance chemical equations. We're going to balance nuclear equations. That's going to be good. So here we go. You thought you were done balancing things?
Yes.
It's back. Okay. I don't want to tell you that, but here we go. Okay, so math review. There's all sorts of things we need to review. If you do not have a calculator, get one. Whatever calculator you are comfortable with. If you need to borrow one from me, borrow one from me. You may not use your phones. I've got a handful over here. I'll grab a couple just to demonstrate how you do these things on different calculators. If math was a while ago. Here we go. So, for reasons. Yeah, you just have to bring a device so that I make sure I get my calculator. So bring me heaps, something of me heaps valuables. When I get my calculator back, you get your phone back. Okay, so quick review. How do you use powers on your calculator? So the calculators all do it different ways. And again, by grade 10, I'm assuming you're good. But at the same time, I'm also not assuming that because you know what assuming does. So I've got a handful of calculators here. I've got the TI, I've got the Sharp, I've got the Casio, and you need to be comfortable with each. These are the three that I have to lend, and so here's how these things work. The question at the top says 15 cubed. So I'm going to punch 15 onto each of these. I'll make sure I turn them all on first. How do I even turn this one on? There we go. 15, 15, 15. And we want to cube them. Now, each one of these calculators does it a slightly different way. Romina, good morning. If you could pick any color, what color car would you want it to, or what would you want to have? Gray. Nice. Like a light gray or a dark gray? Okay, cool. Handouts in the box right here. Matthew, what color car would you want? Red. Before you sit down, come grab one of the physics handouts from this book. Not the reviews, just the one that has the sun on the cover. So I've got Romina here, and I've got Matthew here. Oh, I've got Emmanuel too. Nice. Emmanuel, what color car would you like to have? Red. Nice, good choice. You can just push that box then on to the desk, just so it's not on yours. Yeah, right there. Okay, so math review. Where's the question? Is it even still there? No, it's hiding. Here are the calculators. Want to make sure you're cool with all of them. On a calculator like the TI, you're going to look for this symbol here. This is the symbol we use for using exponents. Though in this unit, we're only going to need one exponent. The only thing we're going to be doing is squaring things. So all of these calculators, I do believe, have a squared button. So find it, make sure you're comfortable with it. Well, the question says 15 cubed, but in this unit, we're only going to square things. So make sure you know where both buttons are. 15 cubed on this calculator looks like this. 15 cubed on this calculator. This one's slightly different. The Sharp calculator has a Y to the X button. Your calculator might have one of those. So you're going to push the Y to the X button. It'll bring up the same symbol as this one had, but the button looks different. I don't know why they did that, but they felt it was necessary. And then on the Casio over here, you're looking to the X to the power of box button. I know I don't know why they're all different, but that's what you're going to do. And yes, these better all give you the same value. Just for funsies, make sure you can do the same thing with the squaring. Find the squared button on here. The squared is the only one we're actually going to need. Squared, squared, squared. That button is all the same on each. And you should all get the same thing. Emmanuel or Matthew or who else just walked in? Romina already has a calculator. If you need a calculator, come grab one from over here. You have to put your phone in the slot and you can take a calculator from me. You will not be allowed to use your phones as calculators in this unit. So either bring one of your own. Oh, and Emmanuel, you missed the test yesterday? Friday tutorial? Sweet. Matthew, were you here for the test yesterday? You were yesterday. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, I'm not going to do everything with all three calculators. Make sure you're comfortable with the calculators. I like my Casio, so that's the one I'm going to use. And I want to make sure we're clear on how this is going to go here. For all of these, actually, maybe I shouldn't use these. I'll use the TI on this one. For all of these kinds of questions, I want you guys to get comfortable. Don't just rush ahead. I see a whole bunch of people just plugging things away. I want to make sure you're comfortable with what's going on here. All of your calculators will do BEDMAS properly if you punch these entire statements into your calculator. Mahip, have a seat, buddy. We're in the middle of a lesson. So, like for this first one, if I have 8 cubed minus 6 squared, you don't have to put 8 cubed in your calculator and then 6 cubed in your calculator and then subtract these things. Your calculator will do it all in one shot. 8 cubed minus 6 squared. You punch the whole thing in. It will BEDMAS it properly, and you should get 476. Can all of you get 476? Good morning. Hey, Norris. You betcha. Is that the only one? Sure. Okay, cool. I will send her down. Bye. Accordy. That was Miss Sobolski, Mrs. Sobolski from downstairs. There's an assessment you need to do for ELL. You're probably going to be gone for the whole block, so take all your stuff. I don't know what it is, but they were looking for you yesterday and you were away, so you have to do it today. Okay, are we all getting 476 for the first one? Okay, and again, I expect you guys to be pretty comfortable with this. Some of your calculators, to make sure BEDMAS gets done properly, you actually need to put the, like if you have a Casio, you need to make sure it's punched in properly, like the 8 to the power of 3, and then you want to get out of the exponent. Like if you put the minus 6 squared, it's going to shove it up into the exponent. You want to make sure you don't do that. So once you've got your exponent done, it's just the cube. You got to push like the arrow button up here at the top to kick it out of the exponent. Now you're going to have minus 6 squared, and you should get the same result, 476. At this stage, I see lots of you working ahead. So I'm going to assume the page is done. Well, are there any questions, comments? Yeah, crank them out. Go for it. Take 30 seconds or a minute or however long it's going to take you. Crank these things up. What's going on? Oh, no, we're good. Yeah. Ooh, questions like 5 are good. Okay. Hold on. Check your work first before you bust ahead. I want to progress together. Fight the urge to go ahead. Oh, yeah. I mean, you're doing this page. Yeah. There's students who are already trying. Did I make a mistake, Kaylee? Ooh, yes. Good question. So 99 to the 1 is just going to be 90. Oh, because it should plus. I did subtraction. It should not -1. It should be 199. I misread. Phenomenal question. As you can see, I also misread question 4. Yes, Kaylee, did I make another mistake? Oh, yes, it's 73. Wow, my mental math on a Thursday morning is not up to par. Don't assume you're wrong, as is clearly made evident by Kaylee and Amitoj. I am making mistakes. 3 of them, as you can see. Kaylee, are there any more? Okay. Yes. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. Does anyone need clarification? I mean, you're using, again, at this point, you're allowed to use your calculator for all this stuff. I'm not going to let the math be the thing that hinders you with this unit, but you need to be comfortable with the calculator, whatever tools you have available to you. Questions, comments, concerns? I'll be ready to move on to the next page. Against my instructions, some of you already have. I'm looking at Amitoj. You tried Jedediah, and then you stopped when I asked you to. She said, screw you, to weed off, and kept going. So let's take a look at roots. You need to be comfortable with the roots. We're only going to be using square roots in this unit. So you don't need to use anything ridiculous there, but you need to be comfortable with them. Whether they are perfect or imperfect roots, we are not doing exact values like you may have done if you were in or for Foundations 10 or my pre-diploma 9 class or whatever Math 10 class you took. We're not doing exact values. We want decimals, all the decimals. So get comfortable with your calculators. So all your calculators are going to roll them differently. Whether the 2 is there or there's no 2, it's the same thing. It's the square root. So make sure you know how to roll with your calculator. Lots of these calculators will bring up brackets. Make sure you use them. Good morning, Olivia. They're in this box right in front of Emmanuel. Olivia, if you could have any color car, what color car would you like? Pink. If you need a calculator, please place your phone over here and take a calculator. You will not be allowed to use your phone as a calculator in this unit. Okay. So, I want you all looking up here real quick. I don't know your calculator etiquette, but you need to make sure that whichever calculator you have, you're using it properly. I want everyone looking up here really quickly, especially if you're going to borrow calculators from me. I want you to see how these different calculators do stuff. Evelyn, I want to see your face. Regina. Regina, look real quick. All these calculators require different pieces for them. Again, depending on where the roots are. If they open brackets, when you're done putting things into the root, close the bracket. If you're dealing with a Casio and you've got your thing in there and you need to add 6 to whatever this result is, you can't just push +6 because that'll just continue to extend the root. You actually need to push the arrow button to get yourself out of the root so the line does not continue. And on this guy, the sharp doesn't really do things well. So you need to make sure that whatever it is you're doing, if you wanted this +6 to be inside the root, you would have needed to include brackets here. And on the sharp, I'll show you how to do that. Push the square root, open the bracket, 25, close the bracket, and that'll give you the square root of 25. And then you could have done additional math up here. So whichever calculator you're using, make sure you're using it properly, using the notation the way it's designed to be used. If you're borrowing one from me, make sure you're clear on how yours works. Finish the page. Yes. 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 And again, we're not doing exact values. I don't necessarily know what you saw in the math class you were in, so make a note here, guys, at the top. I want 2 or 3 decimal places. On anything that has a decimal. So, now at this point, give her. Round it, yes, round. Don't just cut them off. Round properly. Round it to 2 or 3 decimal places. And you do not need the plus or minus, you just need the positive roots. A great question, though.
It's like this, right?
Yes, sir. And then that guy, yeah. And then which one do you want to punch in?
Because you need this.
The bracket will automatically be there. You gotta close. Make sure you close. Well, if you're doing other things, make sure you close it when you're done.
Because it wouldn't.
Yeah, you can't get rid of it on the TIs.
How do you get it to actually write the square root sign?
On your did you borrow this one from me? This is your terrible calculator. Okay, so on this one, the symbol's right there. So if you want to take a square root, you actually have to go backwards. You're gonna have to put, like, for the first one, you're gonna go 144.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing for now.
And then that. You need to get a better calculator. 2-line display, it's $20. Staples, Walmart, Costco.
Yeah.
Get a better calculator. But so it's 144, then this button, then that button.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries. Ooh, okay. So, great question. If you have a calculator like this and it's not giving you the decimal, the Casios do this specifically. Don't be ashamed. Everyone has, this is a good thing to ask. Especially if you're borrowing calculators from me. Root 60 is to root 15, but if you go down here, you see there's an SD button, and what it will do is that'll alternate between like a standard notation and a decimal notation. And so if you push it, it'll roll back and forth between the decimal representation and the exact values. Great question. Thanks for asking. Okay, and now I need, almost done. Okay, there's all my answers rounded to 3 decimal places. Comments, questions, concerns? Okay. I want them rounded to 2 or 3 decimal places, not just 1. If you rounded to 2 decimal places, it would be that, but I rounded it to 3 decimal places, so I think the next decimal or the next one was, but yeah, 3 decimal places would be that, 2 decimal places would be that. I don't care where you choose to round to, as long as it's 2 or 3 decimal places. Right now you have 4 decimal places. So you could use that 5 to round that 4 up and get 7.75, or you could use the 5 to round 5 to a 6, get 7.76. I don't care which one you choose. Yeah, that would be 7.75. Oh, that was 2 decimal places. Again, I don't care if it's 2 or 3 decimal places. Whatever you're comfortable with. Kogi is just lying. Okay. Okay, compare what you got with what I got if you haven't already. Are there any comments, questions, concerns? Is there anybody who's not done? Some of you are not willing to admit that you're not done. Keep plugging away. I'll give you another couple minutes. Another minute. On the weekend? Yeah. Yes, I did. They're still looking for. No, they were the people that they did catch were released. No charges were filed, and apparently they were just witnesses. Or there was no way to prove that they'd actually done it. Yep. It's pretty wild. Because block C started at the 12, sort of running this way. And one of my physics students from first semester started at 15. I was drawing monkeys. And then it was spring break. All of them were erased by the janitors. So then he started again. So no racing. So silent. Silent. How we doing? Awesome sauce. Bunch of you have jumped ahead and started working on the next page. If you're ready to do that, go ahead. Don't go too far ahead, Cody. Order of operations, and again, you punch them into your calculator properly as written on the next page. Your calculator will handle them perfectly. So if you're ready to flip ahead to the BEDMAS page, flip ahead to the BEDMAS page. If you want to do the BEDMAS questions piece by piece, make sure you follow the order of operations. Okay, so I've frozen those answers on the screen. I get worse and worse. If you've gotten yourself to the BEDMAS page, make sure you're discussing with the people around you, confirming that your answers are at least consistent with each other. And you're more likely to be on the correct page. Metaphorically speaking, not, actually on the right page. Okay, I'm going to go to the BEDMAS page. Is there anyone who still needs the square root answers up? Okay. Let me know when those of you who are still checking are done checking. Jump to the BEDMAS page when we're ready. Evelyn, let me know when you're good. You're good? Okay. Again, if you're comfortable with your calculators will do the order of operations pages if you type them in exactly as they're written. If you don't, you're going to get different results. If you want to break them down piece by piece, you can, but you've got to make sure you're following brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction, also known as BEDMAS. And you're working left to right within that time frame, or within that step frame. So go ahead and take a look at the BEDMAS page. If you've done it already, here's my answers. If you got something different than what I got, again, don't assume that you're right, or that I'm wrong, or that you're wrong and I'm right. Ask the question. Don't make an assumption either way. See that you can get the same values that I'm getting.
That's some more supplies for you.
Yes. String and yes. The only things
Everything in here?
No, Staples shorted 2 things. She ordered it all, but she said they were on that board. Nice. Fine.
There we go.
Did I show you what I'm making?
No. Said there was a book.
Yes, my mini weapons of mass destruction. So that's the first one.
That's the simple one.
Yeah, some of them, and they're gonna break them up. They're all like every class is gonna be 3 groups of each.
That's a cool.
This is what
That's
he
the one
closed
I
pins
want
for. So those get here. The Viking catapult. And if I've got some enterprising students who are particularly keen.
What is that? Oh, it's a counterweight?
It's a trebuchet, yeah.
With the batteries.
The batteries, the
That's
counterweight.
smart. Those are cool.
So, yeah,
That'll
we'll
be
see.
fun.
We'll see how that goes.
So you're gonna have a competition. That's what I did with my notes.
Yeah, see how far
So
they
I had a
can
distance competition
And
and an
accuracy,
accuracy
yeah.
competition. Yeah. That'll be so much fun.
It was that, or I was just gonna get them to set up on opposite sides of the class and launch marshmallows at each other until there was only one person left.
Nice.
Or one group left.
In my graph, there was a physics teacher, and they had like a board. They put up like tables across the room, and they were shooting at each other.
That's awesome.
It was fun.
My social studies like art history as well.
Did that.
I was social 11 when we did that.
You can kind of do a crossover, right? You can make them in your science
We
class
were all
and
in
talk
field.
about the war and stuff.
Yeah, it was World War I trench warfare stuff. So we all had boards, so we were able to watch this.
Great memories.
Yeah. keep going. Comments, yes. Questions, concerns. Okay, don't go too far ahead. We are eventually right. We're cruising. Well, that's great. I love that you cruise. They gotta make sure that we're all capable of doing all the things. Okay, it looks like everyone's ready to move on from this page. Does anyone need me to clarify anything? Are we good? Okay, cool. I mean, this is like middle school, so it's math you should be doing for years. Algebra, here we go. But again, sometimes for some people, middle school is the worst years of their life. And it only gets better after middle school. So we want to make sure the math is all on the same page. Middle school can be mean. I don't like middle school. Okay, here we go. So, algebra. Algebra is about finding the what? The unknown. Using symbols and mathematical operations. It's very metaphysical and eerie if you talk about the unknown. But it's just, what's the value? The reason we're looking at all of this, just to give it some context, is the unknowns are actually going to have meaning moving forward here. We're going to look how fast things are moving, how high they were dropped from, what the gravity is wherever you are. Like, there's all sorts of stuff that we can find using these results. So the unknown isn't just going to be X, Y, or Z. It's actually going to have some meaning. So there are steps. Again, if this is fuzzy for any of you, I know some of you are working while I'm talking, and that's fine. Cruise ahead on this content. Isolate the variable by using opposite operations. So I'm going to demonstrate a couple. And just so we're clear, we want to get the letter alone by moving all numbers to the other side of the equation. I want you in this, everything we've done now, you're just punching things in your calculator and you're good to go. Here, I want you to show me your work. I want to see what's happening. I want you to note the operations that you're doing to move stuff around. So if we have powers, something like if I had x squared, what is the opposite operation from squaring something? Square rooting something. So x squared is opposites with square rooting. Those are, if you want to undo one, you do the other. If you have something squared and you want to get rid of the squared, you root. If you have something rooted and you want to get rid of the root, you square. If you have a higher root, like a cubed root or a fourth root, if you have something like x to the y, just a generic unknown power, you take whatever that root is to undo it. Like if this is x cubed, you would take the cube root. If this is x to the fourth, you take the fourth root. And the opposite is also true. If you have the cube root of something and you want to get rid of that cubed root, you cube. If you have a fourth root and you want to get rid of it, you fourth. So these guys are opposite operations of each other. The opposite of multiplication is division. The opposite of addition is subtraction, and those go back and forth. I'll demonstrate a couple here just to make sure we're all on the right page. None of these are very hard. If I had like x plus 7 equals 11, I don't want x plus 7, I just want x. So the opposite of adding, subtracting. So I'm going to subtract 7 on both sides. And this is how I want you to show me your work. Don't just ram it through a calculator. Actually show me what you're doing. Whenever you're doing algebra, whenever you're isolating for a variable, I want to see the work. I don't need to see the work when it's just numbers you're punching into a calculator. But when you're isolating for a variable, I want to see that. So that's going to cancel. I'm going to get x equals 4. Let's do 7, because why not? The opposite of I have x over 4 equals 2. Some people still don't know this. Mr. Keeley came over and he was like, my grade 11s still don't recognize this. When you have something written as a fraction, what operation is that? It's division. Because if you look at the division sign, it's a fraction with dots in the numerator and the denominator. The division sign is a fraction. You may have made it to this stage without someone telling you that. You may have never noticed before. Division sign is a fraction. So if I'm dividing here by 4, how do I undo that? I multiply by 4. And here's how you show me that work. You multiply by 4 on both sides, and here, those are going to give you 1. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and multiplying by 1 doesn't change anything. You may have heard this language around canceling things. It's effectively what we're doing. I don't know if I have enough paper there, Mr. DeVries. So you're going to get x equals what? 8. Cool. Finish the page. There's 8 questions there. Show me your work for any algebra that you do. Okay, I'm done. Let's see what you guys are doing. Okay, bed mass is good. So edge bed mass is good. Okay. Die is done almost. Mass is 31 edge, cool. Well, that's a pretty significant portion of that. Right, so how are you getting x by itself? You have x plus 7. Yeah, so you just write that, what you just said. We will. Hang on. I want to go over the answers to this before you jump ahead. For number 8. Good, yeah. Daniel, okay. Okay, most of you are done. Lots of you have already gone ahead. I want to make sure you're cool with the really simple algebra we're going to have to do in this unit. Those are the answers. Take a look. If you worked ahead, flip back. Make sure you got what I got. If there's anything different, let me know. Give me any clarification. You do not have the same answers I got. Yes. Oh, so you minus something. No, then you get negative x like here. You divide by positive 2. This don't cancel those 2. It's still even. And you would have negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. That minus would still be there. You check these and you're good? You show me more work than this. Show me the work. That's what I don't got. Going plus ahead, show me the work.
Yeah, we'll see what this is. I'll show you how I want that. Yes. When I do what? Because that's a negative. If you subtract 2, negative 2 minus 2 would be negative 1. You want to do the opposite. So 4 is a really good question. There's one second. There's a reason 4 is on there. I want to make sure we're really clear with what's going on. With a question like 4, it is, if I'd written 4 like this, x minus 2 equals 8, it would be really obvious what you do. You would add 2 over and you get x equals 10. When I write it like this, it's the exact same question. Negative 2 plus x is the same thing as x minus 2. You need to make sure that whatever, especially when you're dealing with addition and subtraction, you need to make sure you're adding and subtracting by the correct thing. This is a negative 2. So if I'm adding a negative 2 and I want to get rid of that, I need to add a positive 2 to cancel out that negative 2. Think about what you're doing. Don't just cross things off. If you said that you wanted to, and more than one of you did this, I see it all the time. If you had negative 2 and then you subtracted 2, negative 2 minus 2 would be negative 4. You wouldn't be getting rid of anything. You'd be jacking up the numbers on this side, and you don't want to do that. Same thing here with number 6. You want to make sure that you're dividing away the entire piece. If you just divided 6 by positive 2, then negative 2 divided by 2 would be negative 1, and you still have a negative sign on the left-hand side here. So you want to make sure you're being really deliberate, and I want to see the work. If you do not show me the work on the tests or the quizzes when we've got the algebra present, you will not get full credit. I am a math teacher at heart. Show me the work, dang it. Okay, lots of you have already moved on to the substitution. I want you to show me the substitution before you punch anything into your calculator. So it's for questions like A, it's as simple as saying, okay, well, right below it, if x equals 14 and c equals 8, then this is just going to be 14 plus 8 equals, and then go ahead and punch it into your calculator. Show me the substitution that you've made. Directly below the equation, write out your substitution, and you're going to get a result. 14 plus 8 is 22. Okay? It gets a little more interesting with questions like C. When you're multiplying or dividing, okay, I want all eyes over here, just so we're really clear about what I want to see. When you're multiplying or dividing in there, when you replace a variable, put a set of brackets there and insert whatever you're substituting into that set of brackets. So a question like C should look like 9, bracket, plus 5, different bracket, and then 6 goes in for C and 8 goes in for X. That's what I want to see. Same thing when you have exponents down with a question like H. It's going to be, B is just going to be negative 4, that's fine, plus when you replace a variable that has an exponent on it with a value, you place brackets down and you put the exponent outside the bracket so that there's no confusion about negatives, and then you toss the minus 10 inside there. If you do not put the brackets there, your calculator will not handle this properly. Because a negative sign with an exponent, a negative sign is just multiplication. If you did this, again, all eyes here real quick. And if you had negative 10 squared versus negative 10 squared, it sounds exactly the same. This one is what? It's negative 10 times negative 10. That's what it means to square something. Negative 10 times negative 10 is positive 100. When you write it like this is not negative 10 times negative 10. It's 10 times 10 times negative. So if you do not put those brackets around here, this, and your calculator will do this to you, this is negative 100. And in this question, that's not what we want. We want to replace all of the x with negative 10. So you have to put those brackets there, or your calculator will lead you astray. These are different. Okay, finish all the substitution ones. Be really, really deliberate about how you do the substitution. Do not just chug out a calculator answer. Show me the substitutions you're making. Wait till someone comes back. I've got 2 out there already. Massey and Cohy are both gone. When one of them comes back, you can go. Sid, would you mind cruising around here? I'm hearing what the heck hows, and your math skills are on point, so if you could assist where needed, that would be lovely. Those of you who have, if you have disputes or questions, Sahib's real good at this stuff. Feel free to ask those questions. Okay, here are the answers on the first page. The first substitution page. See if I can fit them all on there. They get really small if I fit them all on there. There you go. There's A through J. That's the entire first page. And just so we're really clear, I will box my answers. I want you to show your work the way I've shown my work. Did I make a mistake, Kaylee? Ooh, this one I don't think I screwed up on. Negative 10 squared is going to be positive 100, plus the negative 4 is going to be 96. Those brackets are really important. I actually double-checked that one, wondering if you were going to call me on that one. That's the same one I screwed up last time. Okay, yeah, front page. Compare what you got with what I got. There's differences. That's how it works out. When you're substituting in, I want to see the substitution. If there's things that be multiplied or put two exponents, got to have brackets around there. And then once the substitution's been made, by all means, round the whole thing through your calculator. If you have a single line display calculator, I would consider, I know it's already the end of the school year, I don't want to spend money, you'll use it. Moving forward in other science classes, a two-line display scientific calculator will be your friend for a long, long time, especially in science. And then you got a negative 4, negative 3, positive 12, so that's a plus 12. Assuming this one's good. No, not good. They'll send it back here. So these are more negative signs. HJ, negative 8,748. I got it. Yeah. Exactly the same. But if you're really deliberate about where you put your brackets and how you place them, and make sure you type them in your calculator, the way you've written them down, it will work out. Your calculator will handle it properly. What are you showing? No, you check your own answers on screen. Right there. Two is more expensive than one. D is not correct. Yeah, well, then you did your math in your head and oops. Okay, D is the one.
Okay, thank you for sharing notes with me. No, you're gonna talk to him after class. Thank you. You sit down now. Yeah, sit down now. Let's sit down. we have the answers here. Wonderful. That's good to know.
Okay, Nielsen, there was 2 I circled on your page. Take a look at those. Okay, and a bunch of you are ready to see the next page. Here's the next page, answers on that. There's 4 more. Which one, Kaylee, are we arguing about? M? Oh, that's very different. Why did I get how did I get 261? Maybe I punched in my calculator wrong. Oh, 16 plus 7. I also got 805 for the first one. The SMU is the one, sure. I dropped that bracket when I punched in my calculator. Brackets are important, kids. I dropped that bracket. Okay. Comments, questions, concerns. Over here on that page. Good. Unless, hold on. Did I get that one right?
Oh, that was ours.
Oh, that's the heap stuff.
Yeah, we had to modify those. Okay, next one.
Yeah. I mean, whether you put brackets in there or not, it changes what happens here. This is going to be 36. Like 6 squares is 36. Okay, punch it exactly. Okay, no. That's a mistake right there. That you have double brackets written. Make sure you put the double brackets around. We wrote it. Bracket, bracket. Okay. Again, make sure you're actually checking the work, because some of you guys were like, yeah, I checked, I'm good, are not good. Like this guy here. L is not negative. Double check that again. Make sure you're actually checking with the work that goes up on the screen.
I got one mistake out of all.
Just check off the previous page, please.
You bet.
A couple of the answers here. Yeah. Hey, come on, bud.
Oh,
Okay, well, he's doing the math while I write it.
Mahip, come over here, man.
Come on here, bud.
Mahip.
Okay, so that one is not here, right?
Okay.
Let me just take a look at that. Mahip, take a look.
Check your work.
Come on, bud. Oh, this is plus 12. Okay, so that would be 84. Okay. But that one, Mahip. Nice work, buddy. Okay, so 81 times. This is negative 8748. Okay, let's go check that one out again. Here, bud. Thanks. That's great.
So how are we feeling after this math review.
Great.
It's not overly complex, but I hope you're feeling like some skills are coming back. For some of you, maybe it's been a little while. Okay. Flip ahead. I know there's only 10 minutes left. You're not going to have any homework beyond whatever math you didn't finish. Let's talk about energy until the bell goes. So, physics. This isn't chemistry, this is physics. My bad. The physics unit in grade 10 is all about energy. Yes, Mahib, there are. There are what? What do you think should go in that blank? Are you sure there's only 5? That's a bold statement.
You put many?
You could put many. Many works.
Thank you.
You could have put the word different in there.
Okay.
Both of them imply the same thing. There are many forms of energy that exist. There are different forms of energy that exist. And these forms of energy, not only can they be, they must be transformed into another form of energy. Energy is not created, nor is energy destroyed. We'll talk about that in conservation of energy. It's only transformed or transferred. And so it has to come from somewhere. All energy on our, well, not all, the vast majority of energy that we have access to on this planet comes from sun. How do we have access to the sun and its energy? How does the sunlight impact you day to day? Vitamin D. Indirectly. You know what? No, I like your first answer better. How does the sun give us vitamin C? What is the process, Evelyn? Because you're not wrong. It's not what you intended. You meant vitamin D, but you said vitamin C. So let's roll with vitamin C. Vitamin C comes from what? From what, sorry? Oranges, anything citrus. Oranges, lemons, well, actually any fruit, apples. How do we have access to the vitamin C, or how does the sun impact our ability to acquire vitamin C? It is not almost like photosynthesis. It is photosynthesis. It's not like photosynthesis, it is photosynthesis. Sunlight hits the plants undergo photosynthesis. We've talked about it before, you would have talked about it in grade 9. Photosynthesis is a combustion reaction. It creates, if we think back to the chemistry, the end of the chemistry unit, what is the energy molecule created in photosynthesis? Well, how do you get the energy out of photosynthesis? What gets created that you take advantage of? Sorry? No, specifically what, there is a thing. You use the oxygen and, so oxygen produces oxygen and, no, it uses up carbon dioxide, produces a sugar, specifically glucose. Photosynthesis uses sunlight, water, CO2, produces O2 and glucose. So that when you go ahead and you are the rabbit in this example, the light energy has been transformed into what kind of energy? Photosynthesis transforms it into what unit did we talk about O2 and glucose in? Chemistry. So this is now chemical energy. You had light energy. Now you've got it in the form of chemical energy. You then go to the plant and you eat the leaves, you eat the fruit. You now have access to that chemical energy. And what process does your body do to transform this into usable energy for you? You take in the O2 and the glucose. Think back to grade 9. We actually talked about it a little bit at the end of the chemistry unit. What is the opposite of photosynthesis? No. No. It starts 2 words. It starts with a C and an R. No, those are that's the pieces. Cows go as the pieces. I want to know the name of the process that your body undergoes inside its cells. Cellular? No.
No? Damn it.
You're close.
Respiration?
There it is.
I just remembered bio.
Yes, you did. So you take the sun's light, hits the plant does photosynthesis, turns into oxygen and glucose. You take in the oxygen and glucose, your body undergoes cellular respiration. What is the name of the chemical produced in cellular respiration that your body uses for energy? 3 letters. Yes. You betcha. Someone's paying attention to biology. ATP. And then what do you do with the ATP? What energy, what do you do with the ATP? How does your body transform ATP? ATP is the energy molecule, the chemical energy molecule that your body produces as a part of cellular respiration. Your body also produces CO2 and H2O. You breathe that out, you pee out the H2O, but the ATP stays with you. And the ATP your body uses to transforms it into another form of energy. What form of energy does the ATP get transformed into? Yeah, I'm talking about physical things. Sorry? No, we're not going that far. That's too biology. Now we're going into physics. How do you know that a person has energy? How does it show? Motion. Yes. So your body takes the ATP and turns it into motion energy. We have a name for that we're going to look at in more detail. What else? How else can you tell if someone's got lots of energy? They struggle to be quiet. Evelyn? Evelyn often has lots of energy, and that's fine. But what kind of energy is this? If you struggle to be quiet, what are you producing? Sounds, you betcha. Sound energy is another form of energy. How can you tell if a person is alive, even if they're sleeping? Forget the breathing. Yeah, you could go there too, but the first thing you should check is, are they warm? If a body is cold, the body is no longer functioning. If the body is warm, the body is still functioning. Your body takes this ATP, turns it into motion, sound, and heat. These are all different kinds of energy, but again, they all started with the light energy from the sun. And believe it or not, we'll talk about it, if we haven't already, we'll talk about it again. Heat is actually another form of light. It's just further down the spectrum. This is visible light and ultraviolet. This is thermal. We'll talk about it. If you didn't finish the math, that's your homework. Otherwise, have a great day. We'll see you on Friday. Anyone who didn't write the test yesterday needs to write it tomorrow during tutorial. See you later. I thought I had another minute. Have a good one, Sahib. Where's my mouse? Thank you. There you go. Is my mouse dead? Where's my computer not connected by a mouse?